am beating up some eggs right now. For the dish we are getting ready to make, you want to make sure your eggs are beaten really well. You want them to be nice and yellow. You don't want to have any white streaks through them. So whatever you do, make sure you beat your eggs well. Okay, I have all my other ingredients out here prepped so we can get right down to it. And we're going to be using my new wok. First time I'm using it is with you guys. Welcome back to Cooking at Pam's Place. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me here today in my kitchen. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you won't miss anything. So we are going to be making a fried rice dish. I had a lot of requests for this when I showed you guys the gift that I had received of the wok, so I decided to go ahead and make it. The first thing you want to make sure that you have is your rice cooked and cold. It's best if it can stay in the refrigerator for several hours or overnight. I actually cooked mine yesterday and it's been in the refrigerator. First tip for fried rice, you want to use the directions on the package of your rice, but you want to decrease the water slightly as well as decrease the time that the rice simmers. Now, I don't use a rice cooker. This is about 1.5 cups uncooked. And so I actually let it cook just about 12 minutes as opposed to 15 minutes. And instead of me using 3 cups of water, I used 2.5 cups. That is going to give you a more firmer rice that won't be sticky. When it comes to fried rice, you can make any kind you want. You can have vegetarian fried rice, you can have vegan fried rice, you can put anything in your fried rice that you want to have. I am making a shrimp, chicken, and pork fried rice. So I have some Argentina shrimp right here, and I've cut some of it up. Did not want a lot of shrimp in there. My husband doesn't like it, so I didn't want to put a lot in there. Then I have leftover chicken that I have cut up, and I have leftover ham that I have cut up. Now the shrimp is the only thing that we actually need to cook. The rest of this just needs to be heated up. I have a half of a large onion. You can use a half of a large onion or a small whole or medium onion, depending on how much onion you want in there. I also have some scallions here. I will be putting some peas and carrots in the dish. I don't have it out. I forgot it. But I'm using frozen peas and carrots. You can use regular carrots, regular peas if you want. Just remember that's going to increase your cooking time. I have 2 eggs here. We're going to be using some of my all-purpose seasoning, and if you don't have it, the link is right above, ShopCookingAtPam'sPlace.com. Dark soy sauce. I have some sesame oil as well as some oyster sauce. Now, typically I would use fish sauce, but since I didn't have fish sauce and you only need a little bit of either because they are very strong in flavor, I'll use a little oyster sauce today. Okay, we are at the stove. I'm going to go in with just a little bit of vegetable oil. Again, this is the first time I'm using this wok, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to behave, but we will find that out together. First thing we're going to do is cook our eggs. I like to cook those first because I want to make sure they're nice, good, and yellow. Always beat your eggs once more right before they go into the skillet. Let them sit for just a second or two to start setting on the bottom, and then we're going to just push the edges towards the inside and let it run back out. You don't want to cook them fully this time around because they are going to cook a little bit more when you add them into the rice, and you don't want them to be too hard going in. Then they'll be really almost tough in the end. So I'm just going to cook these just a little bit here. And no, I didn't add any seasoning into my eggs because it's going to take on the seasoning of the other things that we have to cook. Okay, get these out of here. Add in just a little bit more oil for that. And go ahead and get those in there. Now we're going to let these cook for a couple of seconds. I'm using some of my all-purpose seasoning on here. We're going to let these cook for a minute or so on this side and turn them over, and then we're going to let them cook another minute and take them out. Okay, we're going to remove this. Make sure when you remove your food from the skillet, you either use a clean dish or clean the one that you were already using. Okay, add a little bit more oil in your skillet and go ahead and saute your onions just until they're translucent. You don't want them cooked too firmly. Again, everything's going to cook more with the rice. That seasoning is going to start getting into everything, and that's what we want. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my ham. Let that heat up. Remember, this is already cooked, so it just needs to be warmed as well as the chicken. Leftovers is perfect for this dish. Go ahead and stir that together for a couple of seconds. Get it nice and warm. And right now is when I'm going to go in with a little bit more of my all-purpose seasoning here. You can use whatever seasonings you want if you don't have it, but you should have it. Okay. While that's heating up, just take a fork or a knife or something and kind of break up your egg into smaller pieces so that when you put it into your dish, you won't have one big piece in there, but you'll have much smaller pieces. Okay, now it's time for us to add in our rice. You want to go in just with a little bit more oil. That is just regular vegetable oil that I'm using. And go in with your cold cooked rice. Go ahead and toss that with everything that's already in your skillet. And when you're actually frying rice, what you're doing more than anything is really making sure you dry that rice out. So you don't want to add too much oil because you don't want greasy rice. Now to this, we're going to add just a tad bit of the oyster sauce. Like I said, you can use fish sauce is what I typically use, but you don't need but a little bit. Doesn't want to come out there. There we go. That's good enough. Go ahead and go in with your soy sauce. I'm using the dark soy sauce. If you don't want to use soy sauce, you can use amino acids. And I'll leave that down there with the recipe that'll be in the description as well. Go ahead and make sure you're constantly stirring it. We're going to add in our peas and carrots. Add back in our shrimp. Add in our egg. And adding in our scallions. Now you want to go ahead and stir all this together. Ooh, this smells amazingly delicious. And the secret ingredient that we need to add is cinnamon. Do not skip this step. You want about a teaspoon in here. But what you're going to have to do at this point is stir this up. This cinnamon is what gives it the restaurant, street food type fried rice that we are accustomed to getting, the kind in the little box. It gives it that authentic flavor, so do not skip the cinnamon. I know it sounds odd, but do not skip it. Also, too, at this point, you're going to have to taste it. Taste it to see if it has that authentic flavor that you may be accustomed to having. And if it does, you've got enough cinnamon. If it doesn't, just add a little bit more. But cinnamon is so strong, you only want to add a little bit, very little bit at a time. That's delicious, but I need a little more. Okay. Go ahead and make sure it's stirred up well. You want to put that cinnamon in there at the very end. Doesn't that look good? Oh my goodness. I want you guys to see. Look at that. Look at that, look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh my goodness. Okay, it is time for our taste test. And again, if you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today here in my kitchen. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss anything. Returning subscribers, thank you so much. And channel members, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Don't forget to check out my gardening channel because it's getting warmer outside at the Scaredy Cat Gardener on YouTube. Okay, let's go ahead and taste this. If you all could smell this, all the aroma from my all-purpose seasoning, the aroma from the onions, the peas, the carrots, the shrimp, everything is gelling together, the cinnamon, and it smells amazing. This is delicious. And yes, I get to go back in here with my fork because guess what? It's mine. Time for me to go eat. And I will see you all next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye-bye.